Here with Devon Williams. It's good, Dev.
Just another day in the life. You know what I'm saying? If he took a panoramic,
I see him.
you just see nothing but work in this day.
Yeah, I see him. He getting it in.
Quiet there, beating up on another victim. You know what I'm saying? Everybody getting ready and shit. Everything good. For everybody that said I don't know boxing, just start watching the interviews. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. What's the question?
Everybody shouldn't got a number.
Everybody shouldn't got a number. That's the name of the video, since I don't know what I'm talking about. What's the question?
All right, so recently Joe Rogan made a comment on his podcast that said fighters of today are better than the fighters of old. And then he said Jorge Masvidal
would have did damage in that era and would have probably beat GSP.
GSP.
The fighters of today are much better than the fighters of yesterday. All right. I understand what people are saying by that. Because that's just every athlete, period. We say the new basketball players are better, new football players, and there is, a degree of truth to it. But to say somebody like GSP, I'm about to start listing off some numbers for people who don't know the history of it. GSP, right? His biggest critique is the 2 losses he got in his career. Without those 2 losses, he undeniably the GOAT. Nobody has the same kind of record as him. But we're going to go over some of the things around it before I get to that point. Number one, Jorge Masvidal and GSP are the same era. They debuted 9 months between each other. And GSP is only 2-3 years older than Jorge. So they're the same era. Jorge has not beat any of the new era guys. His biggest wins are guys over like Ben Askren and Cowboy. You feel me? He got Darren Till, but Darren Till is what, 3-7 in UFC? And just got cut? And Darren Till's biggest win is who? Cowboy. Another guy from the old. So you really ain't proved nothing against that new era for them to say it. But let's talk about the new era. Let's talk about like a Khabib Nurmagomedov or a John Jones, because he came after that era, correct? Khabib is touted for not having any losses in his career. We love that. He got to the UFC on the 16th fight, and we've spoken about this before. Really didn't have any marquee matchups till way, way, way later towards the tail end. They didn't have to go through the trial of fire in those marquee matchups back to back for an extended period of time. Great wins. Can't nobody argue what he's done. But to put him over John Jones, no. John has beaten a crazy amount of Hall of Famers, right? Crazy amount of Hall of Famers. Undefeated, essentially, went through the quote-unquote 3 eras of fighters. So John Jones is from back then. He beating the new guys now. We see what happened to Cyril Gane, who's supposed to be the new prototype heavyweight.
Yeah.
What's that, 3 minutes? Since all the old guys can't deal with these guys. So now we're going to go to John Jones. Biggest caveat to John Jones is what? That asterisk with the juicing.
Yeah.
And the fact that he said it himself. He has never fought somebody that was considered the greatest of all time. Right? Never fought a guy who was considered the greatest of all time. GSP got into the UFC after his 4th fight. His first fight in the UFC was against a top 10 guy. Second fight in the UFC, top 10 guy. And in his 8th fight, he fought Matt Hughes in his prime, who was the greatest of all time. How many people do you know fight the greatest of all time in any sport on their 8th fight?
I can't think of anybody.
Okay, so we're going to get to that. So that's one of his losses. Come back, fights another top 3 guy, #1 contender, fights Matt Hughes again, all within an 18-month period. It was a like 1.5, 2-year period. So it's not like Matt Hughes still killing shit. He's still him.
Yeah.
No sign of decline. Comes back, smashes him. The loss that we all gotta give him credit, he gotta eat, is the Matt Serra one. You didn't train for that. You openly thought shit was gonna be sweet, you was partying and all that stuff, and you took that L. Then after that, you beat Matt Hughes again, beat Matt Serra, beat BJ Penn. Correction. BJ Penn also considered greatest of all time in his division.
Yeah.
Sean Shirk, who GSP smashed, top 5 guy of all time in his division. This guy been fighting Hall of Famers in their prime since his 8th fight. Of course you're gonna take a loss, because no one does that. Because no one got the nuts to do that. No trainer in their right mind, the manager is going to say, you're going to take on the greatest. Who will fight Floyd in the 8th fight?
Nobody.
Who will fight Manny in the 8th fight? Who's some guys we consider greatest of all time?
The only dude that I can say that probably did it is Leon Spinks.
And that was somebody who was completely out of their prime.
Yeah.
That was completely out of their prime.
Yeah.
To the point where he felt bad doing it. So we got to chill with this shit. Like, resumes don't stack up. There's nobody better than GSP because he went through the hardest trials. When we talk about a guy like John Jones, yes, he fought good Hall of Famers, all of them outside their prime. And the guys that were in their prime weren't those guys. None of them. The guys he fought in his prime, Dominic Reyes, Over St. Preux, those are the guys he fought in his prime. The only person we can say is DC, but he got popped in both of those fights. So then what do we do? No. I'm right here. Go to pop. Real kid get interested. But yeah, it's no way that you can sit there and compare anybody's resume because no one has ever done that. I haven't seen that done in any sport. And then when we talk about past that, number 1 in takedown accuracy, top 3 takedown defense of all time, top 3 when it comes to takedowns of all time, all in total. Like, top 3 striking defense of all time, number 1 in terms of control on top, number 1 control of significant strikes from the top position. Like, what guys are doing that? They're the top of the whole sport in these stats, fighting guys since they 8th fight who are all top 5 guys are Hall of Famers in their prime. Stop. It's no one. John Jones' resume don't stack GSP.
Why do you think? You think it's like a shock jock tactic, something for clickbait, or do
because GSP
these
ain't
guys
gonna say
actually?
nothing back. GSP not gonna say nothing back. GSP don't never say nothing back. He don't respond to anything. Anybody can say anything about him. He ain't gonna say shit, and then he'll just let the narrative go, and he'll go uncharted. And my mother used to always say something. You can discredit anybody if you look at the right stat. You can take away anybody's anything if you look at the right stat. We can sit here and start nitpicking Floyd's record and sit here trying to find holes, and somebody can try to make a case of why X and Y are better than him. It's like, we sometimes just gotta take it what it is. He's the best fighter to ever do this shit. Period. That's it. There's no conversation. John Jones beats Stipe and then defends the title at heavyweight a couple times. He's in that conversation. But a 2-weight world champion who fought multiple Hall of Famers in their prime.
Does the allegations chip away at John?
Yeah, because GSP also never had the allegations. I'm saying we can sit there, and I can do it with John. I'm not going to do it because at the end of the day, if I'm looking at the skill set is still better than these dudes. I'm saying, the only couple guys that had a chance, Gustafson the first time, ain't really changed. DC had a chance. And yeah, we can say those things allow him to do certain shit and dig through certain rounds, but at the end of the day, the skill set is still the skill set. And I can't discredit the skill set. He definitely got GOAT level skill set, but to say that shit, like, it's still guys like Demetrius Johnson that's still killing these dudes. John Jones still killing these dudes. Like, these guys are still winning. How you gonna say that the old guys can't beat these guys when the old guys are still dominating these guys? It don't make no sense to me. Like, I get like a Karo Usman came, but look at Karo Usman last fight. You think, like, name in the top 10 right now, this is all I got for anybody in the comments. In the top 10, name everybody GSP can't take down, and then name everybody that can take down GSP. We just gonna start there. Do that in the comments, and then we can have a conversation. Because I guarantee you, the number gonna shock you when you say, it ain't happening. Just off the takedowns alone, he gonna beat these guys. And that's it. And he beat half those guys at what they was good at. We ain't gonna even talk about that. GSP's best fighter of all time. Shut up, Joe.